Hello everyone, welcome back to Grandmasters Asia-Pacific region. We've got another match for you, and this is going to be our feature match of the day. It's going to be Alutemu versus tom60229. Tom, you may have heard of him. You know, maybe a previous world champion, so pretty well respected. But also Alutemu, just to let you know, is actually a player you may have known by another name called Machamp. He's a player who's featured in, playoffs before. We've covered him in many tournaments. He's been around a long time, Japanese player. So these two are going to go at it, and it's going to be pretty insane to just see how well Tom does, because I think he's looking to continue to prove himself as the World Championship was passed along.
Right.
Yeah. Have you got a favorite in this matchup?
I've been a fan of Tom in the past. It was a pleasure watching his journey on the World Championship last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing if he can win out over Alutemu today.
Okay, well, there's a lot of pressure on Tom, and pressure on Alutemu as well to try and get this first win. First win in the league is a big deal and must be a confidence booster. But we've got a bit more to find out about these players. So check this out.
私の名前は八島のぞみです。ハンドルネームはアルテムです。Twitter と Twitch は同じ名前でアルテムで登録してます。グランドマスターに選ばれたのを初めて知った時は、びっくりしてしばらくずっとドキドキしていました。アジア地域で一番お気に入りの選手はタイラー選手です。自分が競技的に始めてすぐの頃によく彼の配信を見て勉強してました。オフラインの大舞台で戦うためにはシーズンプレーオフを抜けないといけないので、そこがまず一番の目標です。チョンスがお気に入りのプレイヤーとして自分を挙げてくれたみたいなんですけど、自分のチョンスに対する印象は、Twitter のプロフィールの写真を見て笑顔が素敵な人だなと思ってましたね。
My name is Chen Weiling, and I'm tom60229, and I have Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, but I didn't use it. 我认为我的分组里比较强大的竞争对手是 Surrender 跟 Rivers。那 Surrender 的部分的话，因为他过去表现一直都蛮稳定，那 Rivers 今年的表现其实也蛮稳定。因为我进职业之后胖了很多，就是因为每天都在电脑前做，然后最近做健康检查，然后我有重度脂肪肝。如果要说我印象最深刻的，我觉得我还是会选2014年第一次打世界赛的时候，因为我自己没打好，没处理好，然后最后选择比较差的选择之后输掉这个。但如果要我选最开心的事情的话，一定是拿世界冠军。除了游戏之外，我最喜欢的应该是唱歌吧，尤其是在直播上唱歌，因为就觉得很舒雅，就很多人听你唱歌，然后他们感到痛苦，然后就会因此让我感到开心。
I'm sure Tom will be singing if he wins his match today, but he's got to go up against Alutemu, and this is going to be the first mirror of the day for us, and it's going to be a rogue mirror as well. So I believe we can go dive right in and just check out the deck list of what these players have brought, because it's a mirror in classes, but is it a mirror in decks? Here's Alutemu's primary deck first. Take us through it, Language Hacker.
So a lot of the Tempo Rogue lists we've been seeing from all these players are very similar in the primary deck. A couple of nods to other rogue decks with the Bloodseal Corsair. Some people running Oozes, but Alutemu chooses to just have the Bloodseal Corsair as weapon removal. One sap as well. Everything else looks pretty standard though.
Yep, just the usual, or at least one of the variations of this style of list that you'll see on ladder quite often. As you said, the Life Drinkers, bit of a newer addition to the list, but very valuable in terms of just flipping that health difference on his head a little bit. But let's check out the secondary version of Alutemu's deck. The core cards in that one is it's mainly deck hand, Raiding Party, Life Drinker, just some of the different choices, and also some of the cards that pull it all together. Raiding Party, almost, at least for me, being the backbone of the deck. But let's check out the secondary one with some of the additions, as I believe we'll have seen something similar in a previous match. But Spirit of the Shark and Heist Baron Togwaggle, this is the other way to beat up late matchups.
Yep, going into the late game with all the Lackey generation, you can save one for Heist Baron Togwaggle. We don't have any schemes in this deck, but just Togwaggle itself having a crown to refill your board or Wonder Swan to refill your hand can really push a lot of pressure in the late game after the early stages of developing your minions. Spirit of the Shark is also a recent addition, so this adding a lot more value. You can get more generation of lackeys from the Miscreants. You can get extra damage from Life Drinker, SI7 agents. Pretty flexible with Spirit of the Shark.
Yeah, and just a nod as well, that there is the High-Sparrow and Togwaggle in no scheme, as you said, but there is still the Chef Nomi and double Shadow Step, so there is a lot of ways that Alutemu can go late game if he really wants to, but again, this feels more like the Warrior Buster. So let's check out the third variation. There is Tertiary Deck, which if you look at it, there's a Shadow Step removed, Bloodsail Corsair removed, double Life Drinker gone, and a Ziliax, but there is a additional Sap, 2 Hench Clan, and 2 Walk the Plank. I feel like Walk the Plank is the key card we keep seeing in the more I'm going to avoid you and just go face deck, and also extremely powerful against Mage mainly because you've got Saps and Walk the Planks for the Giants.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be sinking 8 damage to a Giant when that could be going face. Walk the Plank is a nice alternative to clearing or not having to worry about the Mage's big early minions.
Yeah, and let's check out Tom's Rogue as well, as I did mention, it is going to be a mirror match. So Tom actually having Chef Nomi in his core list, which is very interesting to me, considering he also has double Hench Clan Thug, which is a bit of a strange combination of I can go late or go crazy after Amira's, but I also have the aggressive opening. So overall, with the help of the Bloodsail Corsair, I feel like this is a good Rogue mirror list, and I think the Chef Nomi is just a small question mark for me. What do you think about that in this list?
I think it's powerful. I mean, obviously when you have the Myras and you get to the late game and you have that Chef Nomi, well, late game for the Rogue anyways, that becomes a lot quicker than other decks. Yeah. But Chef Nomi it can also be good in the mirror. I mean, if you realize that you can't really get there with the hand that you have, you just say, all right, I need a Myras, and this is one huge thing you can put on the board to swing with after the Myras. You hit the Nomi, it's no longer I need to try to, close out the last 20 damage, I need to find something in my deck. It's just, oh, I'll just play the Nomi. That's going to be 30 damage. And
do you think it's a hedge as well? Because for one card, maybe if you run into Warrior Game 1, that inclusion of one card makes you have a much, much better matchup?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, again, I feel like as we move on, even just 2 matches in the league, the initial deck ideas are quite interesting to me a little bit. Let's take on the secondary deck and see what Tom looked to do there to help improve some of the matchups. It is very, very similar to Alutemu's tertiary deck, which includes a Life Drinker, a Sap, and a Deckhand, and the Walk the Plank. But then removes the Nomi, the Ziliax, the Swampoos, and the Bloodsail Corsair. So no weapon hate, more damage, more removal. And then finally, just take us through the tertiary deck with some more of the late game language hack.
All right, well, again, this is the anti-warrior list that we're looking at. Hench Clan Burgers for more value. Obviously, we keep the Chef Nomi in there because that's what we want against Warrior. And we also have Harrison Jones to help deal with either Weapons Project if the Warrior uses that against you, or just a stray Super Collider.
Yeah, interestingly enough as well, the 3 cards that are added with the High-Sparrow and Togwaggle, the Hench Clan Burger, and the Harrison Jones, that is a total of 3, so they're only from this list 3 removed, 3 added, and you can change up to 5, but Tom seemed happy enough with that. So yeah, those are the 3 variations of each list for the 2 players here. As I said, it's going to be a Rogue Mirror. I'm looking forward to seeing this one because I think people might presume this matchup's going to be very quick, and it might well be based on if one player draws very well and one doesn't. But I feel like the mirror gets a little bit slow sometimes because it's so much like, okay, you gain tempo, now I need to gain tempo, and the board just keeps swapping places really in terms of minion count. Do you feel the same, or do you think it's going to go by quick?
It can go back and forth. If one player doesn't have a very explosive hand where they're just saying, oh, I can just kill my opponent very, very quickly, it can be definitely a resource battle. Like if neither player have Myras, but they just have a reasonable, early mid-game sort of minions coming out, Miscreants, lackeys. It is a fight for board, because eventually board starts pushing damage, and then that's how you win the game.
Yeah, and there's some question marks for me as well, because are these primary decks the mirror decks, or do you switch to something else? Because Spirit of the Shark can be insane if you drop it. an opponent rogue can't really deal with it for one turn because it's stealth, and then you can start just pushing so much extra value. But then on other sides, maybe you do want Harrison for that weapon removal. Maybe you do want Walk the Planks, for example, just to remove any big threats the opponent has. You often lose to a Van Cleef on 3 if it's huge. You can just walk the plank and get rid of it. So I'm very interested in these mirror matches to see if anyone tries to throw the other player off and just switch to a different style, even though it might not be the most efficient in the mirror match. Well, what do you think that's possible?
It's possible these players could bring in some mind games. I think the way that these secondary, tertiary decks are built are so different from what you would want against, like in the mirror, that I can't imagine they'll actually go that way. But maybe as the weeks progress, we might see something like that where the lists are very similar and it might be sort of a mind games thing.
Okay, well, looking forward to seeing if that pans out the way it is. But here we go. Alutemu versus tom60229 Rogue Mirror. Alutemu getting off with this deckhand on 1. And, what does this achieve? Because I feel like as a viewer, someone who follows the scene, and interesting how you play decks, there's a lot of discussion always over when, how, and why you deckhand on 1. But what's this achieving for Alutemu here?
So deckhand on 1 in the mirror going first means that your opponent can't deal with it on turn 1 unless they have like a backstab. It's very rare they're going to coin out a dagger. They'd rather just coin out a miscreant on turn 3 or like coin out a raiding party if they choose to do that. Which means the deckhand translates into 4 damage minimum. And if your opponent does have coin miscreant, it could be even more because the deckhand sticks around. Alutemu already had preparation raiding party miscreant, so it looks like a pretty powerful turn 3, so he doesn't think that he needs the deckhand to activate anything, which means just go, try to push for damage, and then get that early chip in.
Okay, well, we did see the backstab, and just in the meantime, while you're giving that excellent breakdown of deckhand on 1, Tom actually just already, went for the miscreant, and then instantly shadow stepped and say, well, my turn 3 looks pretty sweet too. Whereas Alutemu's turn doesn't look so shabby either. Answering with his own miscreant, but a prep raiding party as the backup. Wow.
Yeah, pretty powerful.
This game's spicy. Damn.
A lot of evil recruits going to be going on in this game. Lackeys of all kind.
Yeah, and funnily enough, it's not always clear which pulls are the best, because Discover a Spell is generally feels the best in every situation, say. But now, is Tom being able to go wide with the Faceless Lackey that summons a 2-drop? Is that actually going to end up being more valuable? Because Alutemu and Rogue in general right now doesn't really have a good way to deal with a wide board.
Oh, wow.
And it's if you knew there was a Knife Juggler in there, then yes, the Faceless Lackey is pretty good. And he can do it again. 2 more juggles. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, none of these players are running Fan of Knives. Going wide is a very real way of getting ahead on board, and Tom recognizes that.
If only he had a Shadow Step for the bunny.
Of course. Or a scheme.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so Alutemu now has to very quickly decide how he wants this game to go, because when you lose board this wide, yes, it's only 1-1s, but still it's a problem. I feel like you have to make a decision as to whether you go, right, I'm going to play hyper-aggressive and try and kill him, or I'm going to try and, or I think I can actually battle back for board. We are very much in the early game right now, but how easy do you think it is for Alutemu to actually, fight for this board still?
Well, with the minions that Tom got off of the Faceless Summoners, the Juggler does, launch some knives, but it's not that much of a threat in itself. I mean, Tom knows that Alutemu had a Waggle Pick in hand because he went prep raiding party the turn before. So, I mean, without a Dread Corsair, it's difficult to get more stuff on board, which is why I think Alutemu is going to stray away from the Waggle Pick and try something else. But, I mean, with the lackeys available, it is pretty easy to swing back the board based on the minions that Tom got off of the Faceless Summoners.
Yeah, deal 2 from hand with another deal 2 from hand with the 1-1 and the SI7 agent, and that means that, as you said, suddenly this board has been fought back for and won.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, next question. Tom has Waggle Pick and a green skin available in hand. But is he ever going to play around weapon removal in any way?
Waggle Picks without Dread Corsairs can be a little scary, because by itself it's not the craziest amount of tempo. And we can see that from Tom's side. It's similarly to how Alutemu decided not to Waggle Pick. Oh my goodness.
Twice in a day.
Yeah. Tom decided not to go. He forewent the Waggle Pick option to try and clean up the board. And again, try to swing it in his favor.
Right. So Hero Power and the deckhand will kill off the miscreant, which seems like a lot of committing a reasonable amount of resources, but if it's shadow stepped and create more lackeys, then it could just be more of a problem going forward. But it looks like Tom actually might just push some more damage and say, you can have your 1-3 if you shadow step it, fine. But if you don't, it's still just a 1-3. So Tom taking a more aggressive line here. And now Alutemu has to decide what he wants to do, because there's a 5-2 staring at him in the face.
I think this is a good start to the turn. Discover something. Maybe a backstab. Ooh, contract's a bit heavy. You do have preparation, but I don't know if that's the way you want to be dealing with the Portal Keeper. If that's what it's called.
This might seem a little bit of overkill, but it gets the job done and doesn't do 5 to your face in the meantime, so...
He may choose to even go deckhand, save the Vis for damage later.
He could.
Means the rest of your turn is kind of awkward with mana spend, because if you go deckhand, there's not a whole lot you want to Vis this turn. And you don't necessarily want to just Bloodseal Corsair, you know, just regular.
Because, yeah. If there was a deadly poison on it or something, maybe, but...
Probably just going to redagger and leave it at that for now.
Yeah, why not? Don't need to go too crazy, I don't think. Keep hold of the Eviscerate anyway. It's good for some removal later, and there's a Bloodseal Corsair of Tom's, so it does have a little bit of a weapon removal as well, mainly for that first swing of the Waggle Pick.
Just Captain Greenskin coming out from Tom. Doesn't feel the need to throw out the Waggle Pick first, just fighting for board, what's important.
Yeah, I think spreading your weapon buffs is just very good when you know your opponent runs multiple weapon hate. Because, yeah, you know, this dagger did a job, it removed a minion, it's now going to get sniped by the Corsair, but then you just equip Waggle Pick, and then you're like, okay, well, what are you doing now? Looking for our team and keeping hold of that Eviscerate has lined up pretty well into this greenskin.
So Tom knows Alutemu's only running the Bloodseal Corsair for weapon removal. So he shouldn't be scared of this Waggle Pick coming down, but now with a Miscreant Draw, he might change that up. He doesn't have a way to... I guess he's good Lackey Hero Power to kill off the SI7 agent.
Yeah, it seems too bad to me. The Miscreant comes down first in case you get something else that changes your plan. For example, the plus attack and rush, you might just do that on the 1-1, save yourself 3 damage.
I mean, these players are both relatively healthy, but 24 health can become 0 really quickly in Rogue Mirrors. Oh
yeah, it's that one turn where you won board last turn and then they didn't get it back the turn after is when you just kill them. Necrim Valor, Cannon Barrage, and Sinister Strike.
Not a whole lot of pirates, and Cannon Barrage is kind of expensive. I'm expecting to see Sinister Strike here, but perhaps he...
I think Cannon Barrage might not be too bad, mainly just because he has Corsair in hand. It could be 6 mana deal 3 twice, might just be good enough to kill some minions.
Could get better later if you pick up some of your other pirates as well.
Oh, especially when you think of Dread Corsairs, right? If you can make them cost 0, then suddenly that's a lot of damage for 1 card.
Step. Could step the Lackey, could save it for the Leroy. I think Alutemu might be getting to a point where he's going to have to say Waggle Pick face, go. We have Leroy, we have Step, we have Waggle Pick. Could push a lot of damage over a couple turns. If that fails, we have Myers to fall back on too.
Yeah, reminds me very much of the Hunter mirror, where at some point someone decides they just have to go face and try and win, you know, try and race.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much more Alutemu can put on board, right?
Not really. And you don't really want to put Leroy into a minion. Really do the best job in the world. Is you can prep Myra's.
This allows him to play an Edwin if he draws it, whereas if you equip the Waggle Pick, he won't be able to play the Edwin, but he'd be able to play the Dread Corsairs. He still can't play the Dread Corsairs this way.
Yeah, you can even Waggle Pick and still get the Deadly Poison on and Dread Corsairs, which is pushing a lot of damage, and you still have an Eviscerate, a Leroy, and a Shadow Step, plus the Waggle Pick Shadow Step.
Expecting all of this to be going face. Perhaps he trades the Bloodkill Corsair, just to chip off 1 damage. Depends how the damage breakpoints work. 7 gets pushed for sure, he goes down to 17. 16 if the Corsair goes face as well. Does trade off the Corsair.
Okay, bounces a Corsair, pretty good for Tom.
Could Cannon Barrage. Try to...
Could. Frustrating he can't get to those 1/1s though.
Yeah, he could go Waggle Pick, but doesn't develop that much else this turn, and being at 17 is kind of scary.
What do you think about triple trade and then just play 2 thugs?
That might be the play. It's the only way you develop something substantial, and I don't think... I mean, you don't have enough damage to just get there with Waggle Pick, right?
And then you have potentially Waggle Pick and 2 4/4s next turn. They choose to go for the pick. Clean up what he can. Funnily enough, valuing a 1-mana 1/1 deal 2 over the Discover spell. Lucky. Because he could bounce it next turn, and he chose to run in the Discover. Interesting choice. I would have thought the Discover might have been worth a bit more. Maybe with Fatigue it's not, but...
Alutemu probably wants to make sure he doesn't die to any direct damage. Might be going to Life Drinker this turn. Probably dagger up. Maybe try to play a Dread Corsair. Might want to go Miscreant instead. A couple of options. I think he wants to weave in the Miscreant, so he's deciding whether or not he wants to play the Life Drinker or the Corsair. Life Drinker gives him the heal, Corsair gives him the taunt. Leroy Shadow Step for 8 mana will be 12 damage at some point. He knows Tom doesn't have Dread Corsair in hand because Tom likely would have played it this turn along with a Waggle Pick. So he's trying to figure out how to develop enough damage to make sure that the Leroy Shadow Step is enough to kill Tom.
Life Drinker just seems good to me. It's just safe, isn't it?
Yep.
Funnily enough, does he Life Drinker Shadow Step Life Drinker?
No, I can't see that. That'd put him down to 8, which means if somehow Tom clears the board, the Abyss... Leroy
Abyss
would be enough.
Yeah, that's
right.
what I mean. You heal for more to you safer versus Fatigue, and then you still have Leroy Abyss anyway, because you can't do it all next turn. He did go with a roundabout, a similar play of just getting extra damage out there by using the Abyss now, and the Life Drinker. But yeah, I think he could have Shadow Stepped heals for a bit more. But I guess healing for 3 and putting up a 3/3 taunt is extremely similar in most cases.
Interestingly, Tom draws one of the only cards that might let him get back into the game. Have we seen any Dread Corsairs come out from Tom this game? I don't believe we have.
I don't think so.
So if this raiding party picks up both Dread Corsairs, Tom can clean up the board. Then he can play around to sap Leroy. Can't Leroy step if there's a taunt in the way. Leroy's gonna die. So we'll see what Tom goes for. I think Tom's expecting some more damage to come out because the Life Drinker Abyss rate seems kind of weird. If you had limited damage, you want to put more on the board and then try to set the damage as lethal.
Right.
Well, the damage coming earlier, it's quite possible Alutemu is just trying to dump damage so that he can do even more damage next turn. And Tom sees this, goes for the...
Oh, you know what's kind of funny, actually?
Yeah?
I actually wonder whether Alutemu actually might have made a misstep. Was it not better to Leroy Shadow Step the previous turn? Because Life Drinker Abyss doesn't care about taunts.
Perhaps. Maybe. It depends on Tom's hand, too. So Tom would have been on 8 mana as well.
But does it? Because if Tom doesn't have taunts, you win anyway. And if he does have taunts, you would win with Life Drinker Abyss.
It depends how much damage he thinks Tom can do in one turn. I don't think Tom could have done enough to...
Bear in mind, you fill the board with 1/1s. I guess he trades them off.
Oh, you're true.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
that's
you know,
right.
there's only so many extra minions he can play. Oh, I'm just thinking sometimes it's good to get the minion charge damage out the way while you can. And as long as you're not instantly dead, which maybe, like you said, maybe he was afraid of dying.
We got the spell Aki.
So it's to strike.
Oh my goodness.
Can he Shadow Step us in this to strike? No is the answer. He's going again. He can get 2 damage, right?
I wonder if he wants to...
He can get deal 2 for lethal.
He could, yeah.
May as well. Oh, you got it.
Oh my goodness.
La lethal.
All right, well, Tom did find the one way that would keep him alive against what Alutemu happened to have in hand, but Alutemu finding a way to deal the last bits of damage.
And that was close, because if Alutemu couldn't do that then, he was probably just dead, because fatigue, plus there's no way to get past the taunts. It would have been a little bit dicey there, but he does take a win there over Tom, and like I said, I think there were just a couple of points in that game where you could have looked at it a little bit differently, and I can't remember the exact board state, so bad me, but I think just Leroy Shadow Step Leroy might have been safe enough, unless he died to Leroy Shadow Step Leroy backwards.
Right.
Which is something obviously to consider. So pretty cool matchup. Game number 1, as I said, wasn't the lightning fast game that maybe people expect. But yeah, that is only going to be game 1. Alutemu taking a win over tom60229. Is he going to be the first player to 2-0 in Grandmasters? We're going to find out very soon. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Dalaran will be ours! Once we land, you know what to do! No we don't. You didn't tell us to play it. I didn't think I had to. It's perfectly obvious. Bank! I am to be robbing the bank! I take henchmen for vault smashing and shiny stealing! Plan is obvious! It's a start, yes, but...
You won't get a single coin unless you take care of the city's guards. Let's rip open Violet Hole and unleash the prisoners on the city. That'll keep the guards busy.
Certainly, but that's not...
No! First, we must sow chaos in the streets.
I got rockets. Anyone need rockets? Try to see the big picture. Shiny, shiny, shiny.
We have to break their will before we can loot, you fools!
Please, everyone, please.
Let's drop some rockets to the city.
Oh, big candle. And then we just take the whole shebang wherever we want. Yes! Finally, you're exactly right.
Seriously?
That's dumb.
Weak candle. Just wait till second gear kicks in. Yes! It's just like I said. We're going to take Dalaran for all that it's got. It's a genius plan. It's simple. It should have been obvious. And absolutely nothing will go wrong.
So, genius, how do we land?
So you're probably wondering why I gathered you here. Let me take a moment and break it down. We've been given black eyes by the good guys. Oh, but that's about to change. Those meddlesome mortals who've mocked up our missions will finally feel some of our pain. You see, I have a devious plan that requires a demonstrative fist. And each of you will have your dreams come true as a finger's finger of peace.
What?
All right. Let me try this again. Alone, all our dreams went. Kaboom! Yes, but united we'll take the candle.
Alutemu, formerly known as Machamp, is currently 1-0 up versus tom60229, and is looking pretty good. He did take the game. It was a little bit close, as I, to be honest, expect Rogue Mirrors to be. Outside of a big Van Cleef turn, Rogue Mirrors generally feel pretty close. You think?
Yeah. It's pretty back and forth. I mean, both of them have tools that can help them stay much longer in the game, but they also have tools that can be very aggressive, so it's a matter of if you want to use them to fight for board or just be super aggressive. And with that game being so close, I'm expecting it to be kind of like that for the next 2 games, or maybe the next 1 game.
Well, I'm going to force you to make a prediction, as casters are wont to do. Will any of them change deck into their secondary or tertiary deck?
I don't think either of them will change, and I think, bold prediction, I think Tom's going to come back 2-1.
Oh, okay. Well, you join in the caster crew quickly, Language of just making predictions that are probably going to make you look silly very, very soon. So we'll find out what's going to happen quick. But yeah, it's Alutemu versus Tom. I think that one of them might change. Let's see. Tom, as we go into it now, opening hand. No new cards that I can see. Oh no, I'm going to sound stupid. Oh, well, I'm used to that. Alutemu as well. I don't think those look too different. You know, Myra's, Raiding Party, generally pretty good road cards are included in most lineups. So,
like the pickup Edwin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, you know when I said games might be over real quick, and I said Language Hacker might look silly because he thinks Tom's going to reverse sweep? Yeah, Coin, Prep, Raiding Party, Van Cleef is a pretty good play.
That's just an 8-8. It's fine.
So if Tom would have changed deck to run Walk the Plank, at least in a turn or two, he could have had an answer.
I mean, it's hard to make the read on an 8-8 Edwin.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to make these plays, so there's a turn 8. And also, what's worse is I remember a day when you did this and had no cards left. It was all in on Cleave. Alutemu just has cards, because Raiding Party is an insane card. Okay, he has a taunt. He's dead yet.
Could go Dagger Deadly or Dagger South's Deckhand to let the Edwin push face.
Okay, because of the hand, I think actually Dagger Deckhand might be fine because you probably want to pick next turn anyway, because the hand doesn't look very good.
Well, I don't know if you want to pick next turn.
Don't
I think
you?
pick's one of the only ways you can lose. If Tom hits his weapon removal and lets you bounce the Edwin back.
I guess. I guess I'm thinking that Tom might use his weapon removal if he has it this turn, right? Because you need to do something to stop the damage somehow.
Right. That's possible.
So Tom is going to go for the evil miscreant. He doesn't have weapon removal, so the point we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it, or if there's enough time to cross the bridge. Alutemu might just fly over it instead and not need it. But another 8 to face.
Start off with the 8 face, because that's always going there. All right, turn 4. Tom's on 14 health.
Wait, do you just... Oh, no, okay. I was working out how, like, do you just ship everything to face and just play 2 deck hands, go face?
You could.
And then just go, well, I've got Leroy and a Waggle pick left. Deal with it. You know, like, what is Tom actually going to do? Can he deal with 2 deck hands, the weapon, a Leroy that we know is there, as well as the 8-8 Van Cleef that he so clearly cannot deal with? We might already be on for a record-breaking quickest game in Grandmasters ever.
You got the stopwatch ready?
Yeah, it looks like quick is the time that my watch says, friend. And this
Choose soon.
Debating whether or not he wants to use the backstep here to clean up the deckhand.
I think there's very little drawback of not doing it.
Agreed.
And this draw for the game.
Okay. Trade. Shadow step.
So what's he looking to draw?
I was thinking he wanted a Witchy Lackey, hit something good, then Witchy Lackey again, and get
Oh,
Zilliax.
he's got 2 goes.
Okay.
Try number 1. No.
Nope.
Oh, close but no cigar. It's
Wow.
taunt for minions, but not for the face. And in lightning quick speed, Alutemu, the thumbs up there from him as well. He goes up 2-0 over Tom, and that was just over. Language Hacker, congratulations. I believe this is the first time you've made a prediction as a caster and been wrong.
It's okay, I'll get over it.
It took you a couple of hours. I like it. Join us as making terrible predictions overall, but Tom taking a loss, and as I said, outside of Van Cleef, the matchups normally go like game number 1 in Rogue Mirrors, but there aren't many decks that can actually deal with a giant Van Cleef, and that Rogue Mirror flew by like there's no tomorrow. So Alutemu takes the win very, very quickly. We've still got 2 more matches left of the Asia-Pacific Grandmasters, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.